let's unbox an Air One charter unit. So here's what comes in the kit. You can see it all fits fairly nicely in this little shipping case. All your accessories are in here, and obviously the robot itself. iPad, 9th generation is included. You can also run this on a 10th generation or an iPad Pro. The only one you can't run it on is the newer minis because they just don't have enough screen real estate. A couple of Ethernet dongles to connect the iPad to the robot itself. You of course get the Air One robot. It also comes with the Zcam M4 Micro Four Thirds digital cinema camera, Panasonic 14-140 lens, zoom ring to adapt the Air zoom motor for zoom control. Your focus is all electronic, but the zoom runs through the zoom motor. And of course you need to connect the iPad to the robot itself. Typically you do it over a standard Ethernet network. If you have a PoE network, that's even better because we include one of these PoE adapters and you Ethernet to Lightning. And you plug that one end into the iPad, the other one into your switch with PoE, and you can run that all day. If you're in a different scenario where you don't have a PoE network, that's why we gave you the second dongle. If you're in a configuration where you're going directly from the iPad to the robot, you don't have any kind of LAN involved, or you have a LAN without PoE, that's what this guy is for, because this PoE adapter does not work on a non-PoE network. This is your little lens cradle that goes underneath the lens when you put it in there. Lens cover and the cover for the mount itself to keep anything off of the sensor if you pull the lens off of there. You also have a standard, USB-C to Lightning charger for the iPad. And by the way, you can also run the iPad off of this and this together. You basically plug this guy in, plug that into right there. There's a little lightning jack in the side of that. And you can also inject power that way. It's not really super convenient. That's why I much prefer the PoE adapter. You have a quick release plate that comes with 3/8 hole on the bottom. There's also a 1/4 inch, but definitely would recommend you use the more robust 3/8 anywhere you can. On the bottom of the robot itself, you'll see that there are dual 3/8 on there for security. There's also 1/4 20s all around the robot to put various safety chains or whatever you want to put to make sure you're nice and secure in your mounting. Other thing, power supply for the robot, a regular 110 cable, 15-volt adapter, 2-pin LEMO on the bottom. You can also run it off a battery. So you could put a V-mount underneath and run a 2-pin LEMO into the back and power this for hours. Your runtime is obviously dependent on how much capacity in your battery and how much you're moving the robot around, how much zooming, pan tilting, all that stuff you're doing. Everything obviously fits nice and neatly in the case. The idea here is that you can pull the robot right out of the case and be ready to shoot within a minute or so. I should point out we also have an ND8 filter here we include, because if you want to shoot with this particular camera wide open at the lowest ISO, you need to knock the level down a little bit. It's a fantastic camera in low light, but if you're full sun, wide open, and you do 180-degree shutter, you need to knock the light down a little more, which is why we include that ND8. The things that aren't included with this, a CFast card, if you want to do internal recording here in the camera. Obviously you need some kind of Ethernet cabling and network to connect it all, and then a stand to mount it on. But everything else is included. You take it out of the box and shoot. This case will fit in overhead bins on an airplane. I've flown with it a ton all over the world, and no problem as long as you don't get a crew at the gate that's kind of really sticklers for exact sizes, because technically it is slightly oversized, but it fits just fine in the overhead bin of every plane that I've been on. So when it comes time to pack the whole thing up, pretty straightforward. Everything has its nice little slot that it fits into. The power supply goes in here in in the front pocket. I should point out here, this back pocket, there's plenty of room for extra gear to go in there. Like if you want to put an extra lens, it'll fit in this case, no problem, as long as it's not something gigantic. There is room for a few other accessories in there. So when it comes time to put the camera body itself back in, what you have to remember is the zoom motor side always goes up, and the label will go facing you when you put it in. So this has to all be aligned on the bottom so that it fits in there nice and neatly. But just basically drops in just like that. And there you go. That is the Air One Charter Unit unboxing and reboxing.